Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Block Party Podcast, In the Mix with Bix, episode 2. I'm Truth Blitz.
And it's your boy Crypto Blood. And today we've got Bix. We're talking about EOS. There's a lot of controversy between EOS and the crypto community as a whole. Ethereum not being a security by the SEC. We're going to talk about a little bit about Tether, and also have we reached a bottom in cryptos. And we kind of wrap this one up with talking about Cliff High coming back into the crypto game. That's in part 2. So
excited about that.
Yeah, I am too, man. Enjoy this, guys. Peace.
Later.
This the story of Crypto Blood and Truth Blitz. Ask them at Cliff High what the truth is. They was just talking about the blockchain. That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said, give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in a Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Block Party Podcast. We've got a special episode that we're starting to do every month here, In the Mix with Bix. This is episode number 2. What's going on, Bix? How are you, brother?
I'm great. You know, fighting the good fight. That's what I do. Fight the good fight.
I know people out there are probably thinking that by now Bix and I are mortal enemies, but that is not the case. We can have differences in opinions, and that's good. I think that's great for the space. And
I'm your biggest fan. I
enjoy having Bix on, man. He's cool. I think he's genuine in whatever he believes. He's genuine about it, and there's no real like agenda, in my opinion, behind it. He's gonna believe what he believes, and that's just how it is. And I'm the same way, really. So that's all good, man. Truth Blitz has been out the loop for a little bit, taking care of those kids.
Yep.
Yeah, so good to see you.
You know, I'll be back soon.
Yeah, good to see you back today. So, guys, how you want to kick it off, Bix? We're going to be talking.
Let's get it out of the way. Let's get EOS out of the way.
All right, so go ahead, man. What were we talking about with EOS?
No, I'm truthfully, I'm excited that it's up and running. It's fast as promised.
It is fast, and it's going to be faster. There are some issues, of course. Yeah. We'll get into that. Go ahead.
It's more centralized. Well, I proof of stake by definition is going to be centralized. You know, the top holders are going to have all the power and the votes, and then you know the 21 block producers. It's just the nature of that beast. If you want ultra fast blockchain transaction approval and all that, you're going to have a centralized blockchain. And that's kind of why I got so deep and heavy into who's behind it, because I knew it would be centralized, and I just want to kind of flush out what was behind it. And
so let me just interject really quickly on that. So to me, it's not so much that it's actually more decentralized than all of the current systems that we have, and I'll explain why. It's not proof of stake, it's delegated proof of stake. So it seems centralized in nature, but it really isn't, because at any point in any 3 minutes, we can vote. The other block producers can vote out any of the top 21. So they're really
who, when you say we can vote them out, who's we?
Token holders.
No, yeah, well, you stake your vote for the other 130 block producers that are out there. The 21 are just the ones that are actually doing the blocks at the moment. But every 2 minutes, you can vote and say, hey, these guys are doing some nefarious things, and the community can come together and vote them out. So,
but if that person holds, go ahead.
That's where the centralization is not in the block producers. The centralization is in the ownership of the tokens.
Right.
And
if they hold the most tokens, then it's going to be harder to vote that person out.
Right.
But no one. If you look, and I'll send you guys a link after this. But you can see a distribution of token holders, and it's not like 1 or 2 or even the top 10 can make any moves without any of the other 120. You get what I'm saying?
No. Are you talking block producers or token holders?
Block producers.
Right.
So token holders that's the tokens are on exchange right now. Most of the people move them over to the exchange to have them registered in that period. Right. So that's why you're seeing that. Vote?
People like in Bitfinex.
They're the biggest. They have the largest number of tokens in their exchange because people sent them there to register. They didn't want to register them themselves. And they're one of the biggest block producers. But at any time in the voting process, we can kick them out, no matter how many tokens they actually hold. You see what I'm saying?
But that gets back to who's we. I mean, if you're looking at 10 addresses hold over close to 50% of the EOS tokens, I mean, I have always been of the opinion that the valuation was an artificial valuation, because you got 10 whales all working together and this deep state cabal, if you want to go on the conspiracy side. And Bitfinex basically controls all the votes of all their token, all the people who hold EOS on their exchange. So if you
no, that's not true. I thought that as well. And I was talking to the guys over at EOS Detroit. This week is actually Tech Week in Detroit, so a lot of stuff going on here. But I was talking to the team EOS Detroit, and they were like, that's actually that's a constitutional violation if Bitfinex uses the tokens of, like, let's say I sent my tokens over there. If they voted with my tokens, they would be eliminated as a BP.
Well, no, not as a. Well, I think that I might be. We got Bitfinex is the largest BP, right?
No, well, there is two things. They're the largest token holder with the wallets as far as how many tokens they have under their exchange, but they're also a BP as well. They're a block producer as well,
and they're also owned by Brock Pearson gang.
Well, I wouldn't say he owns it, but he has ties.
Well, along with Tether, right. Yeah. And that's how kind of I backed in. And nobody really knows who owns Bitfinex, although it's the same management of Tether that owns Bitfinex, and we all know that Brock Pierce was the inventor originally of the real coin, which turned into Tether, got rebranded.
Right.
So that's where kind of my
I don't know. I should have asked him what his role is.
I think you touched on it,
in Bitfinex, but really. Not really though. I didn't really touch on it.
I think it was more Tether that you touched on.
Do you guys know how many of the people are actually voting? The people who who are
holding tokens, the regular token holders.
They hit 15%, I think, right? And that's that was the threshold.
But you have to continue. That's the thing. You're always voting.
Yeah, every 3 minutes or something like that.
You're right. Yeah. Right. So that's where if you compare EOS to let's just say Bitcoin or even Litecoin or even Ethereum, even I love Bitcoin Cash, but even Bitcoin Cash, you compare it to them, is really more decentralized than those technologies, because you can come in and be a miner on any of those, but your impact is very small. Therefore, I have an incentive to go to a mining pool and mine there, and that's where the centralization comes in on those blockchains with Bitcoin. Like there are like 3 mining pools that run over 50% of the hashing power. That's dangerous. You know?
But if I'm correct, and these the people behind the block producers, some of them, I mean, we already know they can freeze coins. I will never invest in EOS because I will be the first guy to get his coins frozen on that blockchain. I guarantee.
Why? Because I'm
Riggs, and they'll vote to freeze my coins in 30 seconds.
No,
they already
it
did
doesn't
the
work
7
that
wallets.
way. Yeah, but that's a good point. There was a reason, but they did go about it the wrong way. And I was talking to the team, EOS Detroit, and they were like, so the blockchain just launched, man. So people are like it's a baby. So they don't even have the what's the group? It's a group that's going to be over arbitration, right? That group hasn't formed fully yet, but there were 7 wallets. They had substantial proof that they were phished and hacked, and it was coming up to that point where if they didn't make a decision, then it's like a grace period with EOS.
Yeah, 3 days.
If you don't make that decision, it's gone forever. So they went ahead and did it, and
it makes you wonder. I hope everybody who has an EOS wallet has checked to see if they were phished, because I heard these were just out of a bunch of people. These are the only people who could prove that they were phished, and their wallets were unlocked.
They're going to be, listen, they're going to be challenges with this democracy type of system. But to me, Bix, if you look at it, I want to see a blockchain where we can actually use it in real life. Like, you know what I mean? Like normal people, if you lose your wallet with Bitcoin, Litecoin, or any of these, it's over, right? We can't really have that. That won't work in a real world scenario. So I think going forward, not just EOS, other blockchains, this blockchain 3.0, we're going to be changing the way we look at what is what do they call it, immutable, and what's not. It's going to have to be a fine balance. I think if we're going to really use blockchain in real world applications. So we'll have to see. It's not going to be perfect, man. I don't think there will ever be a perfect solution.
I agree 100%. And, you know, it to me, kind of it gets to the people behind it. And that's why I had a problem. But
I got you.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, everybody knew there's going to be bugs and issues. And this is such a broad ranging concept.
Do we know? Go ahead.
That was kind of my issue was, hey, when Ethereum came out, we knew there'd be bugs, but it was only a $2 million ICO. And when you're talking $4 billion ICO with a $10 billion market cap, that's baked in the cake that this thing is going to work.
Expectations are high.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, it took Ethereum 3 years to get to a $4 billion market cap. And a lot of pain and suffering, as you know, as EOS will probably have more pain and suffering because it's planning to do more.
Right.
And it's not proof of stake has more potential, I think, for issues and problems than proof of work, but it's faster.
But remember though, Vic, it's delegated proof of stake, so it's different than proof of stake. It is,
well, to me, delegated proof of stake or proof of stake, if you've got over 50% of the people holding EOS tokens is in 10 wallets, and these guys we already know collude, and Bitfinex is one of them, and Block One it owns 10%, and you
so
got
that would be an issue.
Girlfriend is a block producer potentially at number 31 right now.
I think that's his wife, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They got married last year or something.
They got married twice.
I didn't know about that. I was
in Ibiza and in at the Burning Man. So I saw two wedding pictures. One was a unicorn wedding, and one was it was interesting. But yeah.
So my question is, I agree with you if that scenario you just painted, if that was a proof of stake blockchain, yes, that's a huge issue. But because it's delegated, you have like a witness panel, and that's with, you know, that was kind of started when Dan was building Steam.
Right.
So
who's on the panel? And
no, I'm saying the 21 they're 21 producers and at the seat at the panel.
Okay.
Every 3 minutes, you can vote those individuals in or out. So it's a little, you know, I think it's just going to be, people are going to have to just learn a little bit more about it because it is different. It kind of challenges some of our, like I said, the immutable buzzwords we like to use in decentralized blockchains. So I think over time, people will start to see. You were going to say something, though, Truth Blitz.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when we were talking about how some wallets got phished, do we know how that happened?
I don't. But I'm telling you, if like in examples, I saw someone make a comment on, you know, this whole BitThumb thing, right? Bix, this hack.
Yeah.
And someone was like, of all the coins, if EOS was one of them, EOS would be the only one that could get their coins back. I was like, that's true. That's very true. So
yeah, but you got Brock Pierce deciding. So that's not
So, is there a safe what's considered to be a safe wallet yet for EOS? You know what I mean? I know the block producers haven't really given the okay to a wallet yet, and that's kind of what everybody's waiting for.
Great Mass has a wallet.
I know there's Gray Mass, there's Scatter.
Yeah, Scatter's harder to use. Gray Mass has a wallet.
Right.
You can try to check that out. And
no, I have Gray Mass. I just didn't know if the block producers, because you know, the general consensus is, you know, if you're a token holder, don't touch it until the block producers come out and say, okay, this wallet is good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Dan Limmer blessed he blessed Gray Mass.
Okay.
Gray Matter or whatever it's called.
Dan or the block producers?
Dan,
which
Dan.
One of the centralizations.
Dan came out and said, "Guys, this one is fine to use if you want."
Yeah.
And so people started using Gray Mass.
Yeah, and that has the voting bill right in.
It has a voting in there and all that.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, I don't like how your tokens are staked right off the bat. You know, I guess they did that as kind of a security measure.
Well, yeah, and another thing I think people fail to realize, guys, is that you're going to be able to make money off of your tokens. You can stake them for RAM. Like, you can literally stake your tokens to be used on the networks, and you'll make money from allowing your tokens to be.
Is that one of the plans?
Computational powers? No, that'll be available now.
You can do that right now.
Yeah, so there are a couple things that as they work the kinks out, and like you said, Bix, there will be more bugs for sure. Windows didn't come out with no bugs, and to this day, 20 years later, there are still crazy bugs.
It's definitely fast, man. It's fast as lightning, and I don't want to say that.
We could talk about lightning because I was looking into that, but that's another topic because I saw that I saw an article or a tweet come out talking about Lightning Network and how the success rate of you moving 70 or it was like $67 across a Lightning Network, the probability of that succeeding was like 1%.
Oh yeah, it's not ready for prime time either. I mean, I don't think, you know, a lot of these, as we ease into this the coming financial crisis, a lot of these, there's going to be a lot of shaking of the trees in the cryptos. People who talked a good game, but can they survive during a banking collapse like 2008 or something like that? It'll be really interesting as we move into a shakier time. And I don't know what's going to happen to the exchanges. You know, I've been jumping up and down for years saying, oh my God, these exchanges are so criminal. They deal in their own pools. These aren't on-chain transactions at all.
I agree.
And, you know, China cracked down on theirs and all of a sudden volume went to nothing, but the Bitcoin price went up. So hopefully these exchanges could be shaken out, and then, you know, the cryptos, there'll be less manipulation in the markets. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, definitely some of these, like, I think Bitfinex is the first that's got to go. Just because.
What about EOS Finex?
They're what are they doing? You're gonna have to explain that. I heard
decentralized exchange on EOS.
Yeah, they're making an EOS exchange next.
It's like doubling up on my conspiracy theory.
Right. You're gonna have a lot of material for that one, boy. God.
I did find the bank, that mysterious bank that's supposed to hold all the Tether money.
Yeah, let's talk about Tether, man. Let's talk about that.
Well, I know that. I mean, talk about a con. That's the con of all cons. They were supposed to produce an audit back in January, and they said, cryptos are too complicated to audit. I mean, this is a crypto that is supposed to be backed dollar for dollar. Here's the amount of cryptos. Here's our bank account with the amount of dollars. What is so complicated about something like that?
Right.
But they just had a law firm, a really interesting law firm.
I've got the article up on the screen now.
Controlled by Louis Free. And he was the director of the FBI right before Robert Mueller.
Oh, great! Knee
deep in the deep state. I mean, if you're looking for deep state connections, there's your deep state. But he came out and said, "Oh yeah, we saw the Tether bank balances on June 1st. Now, June 1st was the day they froze the EOS tokens. So on that day, legally, they had the $4 billion." I mean, everything. And then he said, we can't produce an audit because it's too complicated. And the bank is a bank called Noble Bank out of Puerto Rico, where they're trying to invent this crypto world called, what was it? Puertopia was the headline in the New York Times. And I won't tell you what they found out that means, but if you walk down this route, I mean, this bank, Noble Bank, and then we had yesterday Trump come out and said they're going after Puerto Rico. for mismanagement of funds and all this stuff. So yeah, it's really crazy and complicated.
It's a lot of coincidences.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. That's yeah. As far as Tether goes, I mean, they just keep creating more, just like they print more dollars. You know what I mean?
They're saying that they don't, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. Like, is there a way for you to fully audit?
Yeah,
these
tokens.
Of course there is.
I can do it right now. Here's the amount of tokens outstanding, and where's your bank account?
That's it. Should be simple as that.
It's as simple as that. But the key
is not because they have to destroy tokens. Don't they have to? They have to destroy tokens to keep it like pegged at $1.
Right.
So it's not just
every day they do that. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's every day or how they. I think it is every day.
Well, that's what I mean. They claim if it's back 1 for 1, but the reality is there's no bank account. There's something there. It is pledged to a whole bunch of other things as well. It's used as collateral. And that's the problem. That's why no accounting firm will go in there. They're not going in because they can't say, here's the bank account and here's the tokens.
One article.
We can't confirm that this bank account is not pledged to something else. As a matter of fact, we can confirm that it's on other names.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think stable coins are very necessary in this.
I agree. If there was a valid one and a one that was audited, I would absolutely love that.
Well, they're coming out with another stable coin.
Trust USD.
Is that the one? It's who was in on it? I can't even remember. I'm drawing a blank. I talked about it in a video maybe about a month ago. There was I think an exchange that's I don't remember.
I think it's Trust USD.
Is it?
Yeah,
I know.
Trust token. It's called Trust token. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of different currencies and stuff.
But I know it sounded good. You know, if everything works out, how.
But you got to back it up. You got to have audits. You got to have regulators in there, and you got to have.
I agree. Deal. But remember, Bix, we were talking before. I think on the first time we had you actually on the Block Party podcast, I was like, "Hey, man, these people screaming manipulation on the way down. You got it. It can't be on the way down only and not on the way up." And then lo and behold, what do we have?
Or even the stable manipulation.
The report comes out and says that Tether was manipulating on the way up.
Right.
I'm like,
exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think about that? Like if they were manipulating the markets on the way up and now they're kind of caught red-handed, what are your projections for cryptocurrencies by the end of this year now that we possibly now don't have that manipulation there? Are you pulling back your figures?
No, there's still massive manipulation everywhere. I do think that the Department of Justice, it's the Department of Justice that announced that they're the ones who are going to investigate the rigging of the price of Bitcoin and the price of Ethereum.
Right.
And right after that announcement came the professor's report that Tether was used, and that would be one of the pieces of evidence, because the CFTC and the SEC love their, they can point to this great professor that did this mathematical calculation. I think it was more that because Bitfinex and the people that control it, and Tether and the people that control it, could create money out of thin air using Tether, they went in to load up on Bitcoin, and whether or not they sold it or got out of it, or how that went down, I do think they were manipulating it, but more for a greed aspect, because they're creating money out of thin air. They'll create, look at the volume on Tether is off the charts. The Tether, if you look at the trading volume, if it's $1 or $2.5 billion that is supposed to be created in Tether tokens, well, they trade that almost daily. It's kind of like, wait a minute, is everybody trading their Tether token? Who's hanging on to their Tether token, and where does that volume come from, and how much manipulation? And when Bitfinex gets in trouble with these scams, what do? They claim they were hacked. And we all heard, we went through the Bitfinex hack a couple years ago, where they had to create new Bitfinex tokens to pay people back. It's just, the crypto world is screaming for regulation if it's going to be used in a viable manner going forward by the population. If we're going to go,
let's talk about that, because that's one thing that you and Brock Pierce agree on is regulation is good.
Wait.
I'm spinning that one. You see how I'm spinning that one?
Do we agree on it, or is that just another thing Brock says, like he's giving his money to the world and gonna give everybody a hug?
I don't know. I'm just saying I don't agree. Like, I feel like, you know, and you were really vocal about this, about the legacy system and you know, gold and silver and the precious metals and everything. Like, look at what regulation did to that market. So
it wasn't regulation that did it. It was the banking cabal that did it, and the regulators covered for it. When I talk about
why
regulation,
wouldn't that be the same thing in this case, though?
I think the regulators have been and will be drawn out when the next banking collapse happens. The regulators, most of them have left. Most of the criminals have left, except, you know, there's still some that get paid off and things like that. But that was the whole idea behind unbacked fiat money, is to create a system where you can rig the markets and have a regulation system that basically protects the market riggers, the official market riggers. And then they'll pluck people out as, you know, if people who game their system like they did to Martin Armstrong and things like that. But, you know, we can either have a Mad Max world where, you know, I don't know if cryptos will be even useful at all in a Mad Max world, because everything breaks down and Deutsche Bank goes down and there's no banks open anymore, people screaming in the streets. You know, there won't be any internet up and running because there's no electricity and all that. That type of world the cryptos won't do well in. But a crypto world that we transition from the old system to a new system and make that new system a whole lot safer and a whole lot more honest and trustworthy, so that very decentralized, very open, with regulators in there to pluck out the bad players. That's what we want.
To me, Biggs, though, that's what crypto and decentralization and autonomous organizations are all about. Not having trust. It's a trustless system. That's what cryptos were all about. And not having those regulators in the mix of things, in my opinion. So
then you're getting into the world of the price of Bitcoin. The true pain of the latest downturn is not just that it went from 20,000 down to 6,000. The true pain was that it went from 6,000 to 20,000 instantly, and then it got slammed down. Right. So what happened was it destroyed the sentiment. It destroyed the viability of your average Joe jumping into cryptos and using it. It was really the best thing for the cryptos is if that never happened. If Bitcoin never went up to 20,000, then we could, you know, slow and steady wins the race when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, I agree, man. I was completely stunned at the rise from, what was it, like 4,000 up to 20. I thought we would take a break at 10K.
Yeah.
And then we went to 13. I'm like, this is crazy, man.
Welcome to Tether. Welcome to Tether. Welcome to Brock Pierce and his crowd.
But the problem is, though, I don't understand how you could feel like bringing the same guys, the regulators and the banks, they're hand in hand. We know that. Bringing them, inviting them into this space is going to fix anything. I don't know, man.
We got to fix the regulators first.
What do you think, man?
We got to fix the regulators, and the regulators are paid to run cover for the manipulation of the old system. That's the only reason the old system's up and running. That's what Root A stands for. It's a Fortran programming term invented by Greenspan in the 60s to rig the markets. And the regulators have been a big part of it. If you go through the CFTC and the DTCC and the World Bank and the Federal Reserve, the regulation is all about controlling the con, and it has been for over 100 years. So if we are moving into a new system and we really destroy the old system, with like Deutsche Bank just announced, got, you know, all kinds of dings today, and it's about to get on the watch list for the Fed's stress test.
And that's a bunch of bull.
$50 trillion market cap, or $50 trillion derivative book at Deutsche Bank. That's nothing. AIG, what was that? Is that 800 or what was it, $300 billion bailout? This is 50 trillion. That ain't gonna happen. That's gonna blow the system sky high, and nobody's stopping it. So we'll see what happens the old system crashes. You know, my ideal world is the old system crashes, the cryptos take over, the regulators are in there that do their job, take out the criminals, and we move forward.
That's when they heard Janet yelling and the cops came. They said, give me all your Bitcoin and lock aim. Then Jamie Dimon showed up and the shots rained. So they hopped in the Lambo and took off fast. Welcome to the Block Party Podcast.